Good morning, and welcome to the first episode of Prayer and Paddle. As you can see, it's quite dark out. I get out here around 5:15 every morning to start my paddle. I have yet to figure out the best way to provide lighting to this. Typically, I just wear a headlamp, but you guys would never see me. So now I have a light set up in the front of the boat pointing back at me. It's not ideal. I can't see where I'm going very well, which kind of defeats my purpose of being out here. I really enjoy the sights, and that is what I want to share with you. So, I'd like to talk about what I would like this channel to be. My wife and I were just recently born again, back on May 2nd. I can give you the testimony here in a little while, but with regard to this channel, I've been paddling nearly every morning for the past month or so, maybe a little less than a month. But as I paddle before sunrise, I wear my headlamp, I read my Bible, I do my daily reading out here. I carry a devotional book with me. I do a devotional each day. So this habit has brought me much closer to God and has really been an incredible experience. There's a beaver. He's not too happy with me being out here this morning, I guess. So, as I was saying, this habit has brought me very close to God, and I just would like to share that with people if I can. Even before I was a believer, paddling was very special to me. Being on the water was really therapeutic for my mind and my soul. It's the place where I've always talked to God before I acknowledged His presence in my life. My garden, so to speak, as a friend has pointed out to me. So what I would like this channel to be is a way to share my experiences with you. It's never going to be as good as actually being out here. You know that. I know that. But I'm going to do the best that I can to capture what I enjoy most about this. I don't often speak to a camera. Not very good at it. I hope to grow in that. For your sake, mostly. So, what I would like this channel to be is a way to bring us all closer to God. Some days I will share my daily reading with you. I'll read aloud, as terrifying and anxiety-inducing that sounds to me. Some days I may share a devotional, something that has come to mind. Some days I may have a message to share with you. And some days I may have a guest out here, and I can record our conversation to share with all of you. I had a guest yesterday. My pastor joined me out here. We had an incredible day of fellowship, and we were getting off the water just as the sun came up, but it was a beautiful, beautiful day. Fog was rising on the water. The town was quiet. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to share that experience with him. And I hope to share it with many more, not just all of you over the YouTube, but also people who may find the time or the ambition to join me at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not easy, I know. But maybe we'll have some daytime paddles also. Maybe we'll get out in the afternoon sometime, and more people will be able to get out here. You'll certainly be able to see me better, and see the scenery better. That's what it's about, right? So I guess having said all that, I will shut down the camera when I get a little bit more daylight out here. I'll turn the camera around, let you guys see the world, and I think I'll probably share my testimony, or at least part of it. I'm sure throughout the coming weeks and months, more of it will come out, different stories as they come up, or as they're relevant. So I hope that I can bring you along, help to enrich your life a little bit, as this has enriched mine beyond measure. And please bear with me as I learn. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you in just a minute. So as I had mentioned, my wife and I were just saved back on May 2nd. I'd like to tell you a little bit about that. I was raised in an atheist household. I spent most of my life as an atheist. It was never bad. I had a great childhood growing up. I was never discouraged from pursuing religion. I was allowed to go to church with friends if I wanted, and I did a few times. Had some poor experiences. I'm sure a lot of people understand that. Not all Christians are followers of Christ. We know that. It's no secret. It's unfortunate, but anyhow, as a teenager, young adult, I didn't have the best friends, and I went down a lot of the wrong roads with alcohol, especially. I had a big problem with alcohol, even as a teen. I smoked. I dabbled with drugs and women, and as I got older, it didn't exactly get better. I got a DWI when I was 19, and can get more in depth with that too, but that was certainly God laying his hand of protection on me. If not for that DWI, I very well could have been dead that night. Then as a young man in my 20s, I rushed into a loveless marriage. And it wasn't always terrible. I can't say that. I never would. There was a reason that I married her in the first place, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know enough about human nature. I didn't know enough about her. I didn't know enough about myself. I was 23 years old and spent most of my life barely conscious. So that lasted 9 years, and I got a son out of the deal, and that's all well and good, and I still see him as often as I can, and I have a decent relationship with him. But the dissolution of that marriage was one of the better things to have happened in my life. Meeting my current wife, Ashley, I just knew. I knew that when I saw her, well, let me get into how we met first. So I was working for a construction company as an engineer. She was a project manager for a different company who had contracted my company to design cable runs to various places. So I was working on her projects, and we talked a fair amount about work. And yes, I was married still. Yes, it was an office scandal, but we spoke on the phone one day, and she liked my voice, and we decided to meet up for lunch. It was supposed to be just a business lunch, bring our business relationship a little bit closer. And the moment that I saw her, I knew that I loved her. And I felt terrible about it. I felt terrible about the way that I felt about her because I was still married. And so I didn't pursue her for about a month or so. We didn't talk at all. And then I sent her a message and told her I was going to be in town, asked if she'd like to go out to lunch again. So at that lunch, I asked her if she would be interested in pursuing a relationship with me. It may sound like I was rushing things, and maybe I was, but I knew for a fact that she was the woman that I needed in my life. And we hit it off. I ended my previous marriage, and it was just meeting Ashley was one of the first times that I questioned my unbelief. The peace and joy, and I don't mean happiness, I mean joy, that woman brought into my life was nothing short of an act of God. I was able to quit smoking, quit chewing immediately. I was able to give up drinking. She and I still drank a little bit at the time, but it wasn't my coping mechanism anymore. It wasn't a requirement in my life. And that's just a couple examples of what made that relationship miraculous. So as we grew together, we experienced some hard times. This was at the beginning of the pandemic. We lived together as a brand new couple, and spending every moment of every day together, trapped in a house through the pandemic. But it brought us closer. It was incredible. We didn't go crazy being stuck together like that, as some may think. We flourished. And I knew that I wanted to have children with her. It's instinctual. It's instinctual when you meet someone that you love, that you want to reproduce. You want to have offspring with that person. You want to see the person you love within the child that you've created together. So we began to try, and we had difficulties. We tried for more than a year. We went to get fertility testing done. There wasn't anything too abnormal. Things weren't working out. We ended up going through IVF, which is, I'm not going to give it very much time today. I could talk for hours and hours about this, and we will at some point, I'm sure, but IVF was very difficult on both of us. It was very hard on Ashley physically and psychologically. It was hard on me psychologically, having to put her through pain for this. The first attempt failed. It was heartbreaking. It was devastating. Second attempt worked, and our son Henry was born November of 2022. And we were so blessed. He spent almost a month in the NICU, and that was remarkably strenuous on us. But we faced it together. It was another one of those things that brought us so close to one another. We spent every day driving back and forth to the hospital. We could have stayed there, but we had other kids to take care of too, so we drove back and forth every day. We spent a lot of our time in very deep conversation, and it brought us so close together, loving that child and being there for him and watching him grow stronger, watching him learn to eat, watching him get bigger, growing, get heavier. And finally being released from the NICU and getting to come home with us. It was a beautiful, beautiful miracle of God. So the following year, we decided that we really needed to get married. I wanted to propose for so long, and let's just get this out there. I'm terrible with money, guys. I'm absolutely terrible with money. I was hemorrhaging it everywhere. Ashley's really good with money, so she was saving, and she's an incredible woman. But we finally had the discussion, and I let her know how terrible I am with money, and that's why she didn't have a ring yet. And long story short, we sat down together. We picked out the ring that she wanted. We set a date for the wedding, November 10th, 2023. And as we were approaching the wedding, we decided that we wanted to try to have another baby. We were really hoping for a girl, so we had a couple we have one embryo left, frozen, and we were planning on beginning the IVF process again after the wedding. But about a month before the wedding, we discovered that she got pregnant naturally. And what a blessing that was. So throughout her pregnancy, she began to have a difficult time, gestational diabetes. She became preeclamptic also a little further on down the road, but we had discussions also. Sorry, this is kind of changing directions here a little bit, but this is important to be said. We had discussions about the condition of our family, our children, the public schools, another beaver. And we felt like something was missing. I was a leader of my family in every way except for spiritually. I felt that maybe we needed to find a church. Maybe we needed that community. Maybe our children needed to be exposed to good people. The only people that we agreed with, morally speaking, were Christians. So why weren't we Christians? So we decided that, hey, maybe we'll start looking for a church. We didn't really know where to start. We didn't know what to do, who to talk to. I had hardly set foot in a church in my life. So we just kind of settled in, let it be what it was at the moment, and just kind of wait things out. So Ashley goes in for testing for her gestational diabetes, and she had to do a 3-hour glucose test. And while waiting there was another woman who was doing a 3-hour glucose test, roughly the same age as Ashley, fourth child for her too. They were both in the same season of their lives, which was astonishing in and of itself. So they talked for most of that appointment, and Ashley brought up that we've been thinking about attending church and, have been trying to look for one, or we're about to try to look for one. And Liz tells her that her father is a pastor of a church that's not too far from us. And looking back now, it's incredible that God brought those two together to bring us into that church. We waited a few weeks after that. We had prior engagements and things, and we went to a service, and all the people were so welcoming. It was amazing. It was beautiful. These people were so friendly. The service was good, and we knew we had to come back. We weren't that serious about it yet. We hadn't given it enough time, I guess. So a couple weeks later, we came back, and I can't really explain what made that service different, but from that moment, we knew that we were going to be there for a long time. We knew that we wanted to be members of this church, and we started coming more frequently, but in the very near future, we had our daughter, our baby girl. That's a story in and of itself. I guess we can jump into that right now. So she was early, not as early as Henry was, but still fairly early. It was a Monday morning, and Ashley came in and said that she was having a very hard time, very rough morning. She was in pain. I asked if she'd like to go to the hospital. She said yes. So, since we didn't think that she was in labor, we kind of took our time to get moving. Did the morning chores, took the dogs out, fed the chickens, all that stuff. And we started driving, and it's kind of a drive. It's about 45-50 minutes to get to the hospital where she was supposed to have the baby. So we started driving. We got about 15 minutes down the road, and she says, "I am not going to make it." We were right near Lowe's parking lot, so we pulled in there. It's better to be in a parking lot than on the side of the road, I guess. We pulled in there. I got on the phone with 911. They were sending an ambulance. So 2 state troopers showed up first. And just moments later, Ashley gave birth to our beautiful baby girl, Dahlia. And it was the most spiritual experience of my life. That was as if God was reaching down, speaking into my ear, saying, "Dave, what more do I have to show you to bring you to me, to be a follower of my son, to worship me?" And in that moment, I told God, I don't need to see anything else. This is it. That's all I needed. And I have been so grateful since for God's grace and mercy, for everything that I have. Pastor and I just talked about this yesterday, but a lot of people come to Jesus when they've hit rock bottom and they're looking for salvation and they're trying to avoid hell and they want to be delivered from their affliction. We came to Jesus after we already had everything that we wanted. God had already delivered us from our afflictions, had already pulled us through these hard times. And we were overwhelmed by this sense of gratitude that we weren't directing anywhere. We certainly weren't directing our gratitude in the right direction until we found the Lord. And here we are. We were born again on May 2nd after the pastor and his wife came to our house and spoke with us and preached us the gospel. And we were overwhelmed with joy. It was amazing and it was beautiful. And we began attending church every service. We were hitting the morning service, the evening service, and we were making it most Wednesdays. We missed one or two here and there. And then a little while later, we started attending Sunday school as well. So now we hit every service that we possibly can. And it's been incredibly rewarding. It's been amazing. We love our church family. And here's the crazy thing. There is not one person in that church that we don't want to have a conversation with. We love everybody. We love everybody in there, and they love us. And we would do anything for each other, and it's wonderful. It's amazing. And I would share it with anybody who is willing to listen. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to witness to them. I guess that's what being a Christian is about, is being willing to witness, to give your testimony. And again, we barely scratched the surface of mine. I'm sure we'll get into more of that throughout many more episodes. But that is the not so short story. I really appreciate you guys listening in, coming along for this ride. I'm going to work on camera angles because from what I can see here, you don't have the best view. But I thank God for the opportunity to be out here. I thank God for my journey so far. And I thank God for giving me the ability to share this with you. So please come join me again. We'll probably start doing some reading next time. I hope that goes okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you guys.